The town of Dry Creek lay beneath a sky the color of tarnished brass. Heat shimmered along the dusty main road, and every creak of wood seemed amplified in the hush of late afternoon. The air smelled of horses and smoke, of iron nails warming on sun-baked boards. Folks said the town had no soul, only duty, debt, and dust. But now and then, if you watched close enough, you could catch a flicker of something gentler, like a candle refusing to die in the wind. Eliza Carter stood on the mercantile porch with a baby in each arm, skirts brushing against her ankles, her hair pinned but falling loose in strands across her forehead. The twins whimpered with that endless hunger only infants know, their small fists curling tight against her bodice. Behind her, voices carried in whispers. She knew they were about her. She always did. Women shifting parasols, men spitting tobacco with narrowed eyes. Children shooed away from her shadow as though her very presence was a stain. Her husband had been buried 6 months past, trampled beneath a herd of longhorns. She had held the shovel herself when no one else came forward, dirt clinging to her palms until the skin cracked. The McGraw family, her husband's kin, did not forgive her for surviving, nor for birthing twin girls instead of a boy to carry their line. To them she was a hollow tree, stripped, empty, taking up space that should have borne fruit. Each day she moved like a ghost through town, fetching flour, trading eggs, sewing buttons for pennies, always with her babies at her breast or hip. And each day the whispers grew. Poor thing, bad luck follows her. Others said it more cruel. She must have done something to anger the Lord. She felt the weight of their judgment as tangibly as the sun burning her nape. Yet when she sang to the twins at night, soft lullabies from her childhood in Tennessee, there was a calmness that steadied her. Her girls were proof that love could still take root in barren places. But love alone did not mend fences, nor feed mouths, nor fend off cruelty. One morning, as she crossed town with a sack of flour balanced against her hip and both girls fussing, she stumbled. The flour slipped, nearly tumbling to the ground. Before she could catch it, a large hand reached out, lifting the weight with unhurried strength. She looked up into the weather-creased face of a stranger. Jedediah Cole stood taller than most, shoulders broad as if they still carried the ghost of a badge. His hat cast a shadow over eyes that seemed not blue nor gray, but storm-colored, restless, uncertain, yet watchful. He smelled faintly of leather and sage, as though he had ridden long miles with little rest. He did not speak, only set the flour back into her arms. Their eyes met a heartbeat longer than courtesy required. In that silence, something passed between them. Not romance, not yet, but the recognition of another soul marked by exile. She whispered a thank you, voice catching in her throat. He touched the brim of his hat and moved on, boots crunching against the gravel. The town was quick to notice. Gossip spread faster than prairie fire. The widow's already looking for another man. That drifter, Jed, they say, ain't no good. A man with no roots can't be trusted. Curtains twitched, heads shook, and the preacher slipped in pointed verses about temptation on Sundays. Eliza bore it with the same endurance she gave to every wound, yet she found herself glancing toward the saloon more often, where Jed sat quietly at the corner table, nursing whiskey, never joining the laughter nor the card games. He fixed her fence one evening without being asked. She found him there at dusk, hammer steady, nails glinting in the fading light. He said nothing, just tipped his hat when she stepped onto the porch with the twins. She wanted to say more than thank you. She wanted to ask him why he helped, what he saw in her that the rest of the town refused to see. But words caught like burrs in her throat. Instead, she set out a loaf of bread on the fence post the next morning. When she looked again, it was gone. Small gestures, no larger than seeds, began to root. But the McGraw family was not blind. 3 brothers, hard-eyed and mean as rattlers, cornered her outside the mercantile on a twilight evening. Their spurs jangled as they drew close, the youngest spitting tobacco near her shoes. "Woman," growled Silas McGraw, eldest and cruelest, "you've shamed our kin long enough." No sons, just 2 squalling girls. Ain't right. She held the twins tighter, heart thundering against her ribs. "They are his children," she said softly, voice trembling but steady enough to hear. Silas sneered. "Children? No, they're curses. Proof you ain't fit to carry his blood. His hand shot out, yanking her arm, dragging her into the dust. The babies wailed, one slipping from her grasp until she clutched her tighter, knuckles white. Blows fell. Open-handed slaps that stung more from humiliation than pain. Her knees scraped raw against the ground, the taste of iron rising in her mouth. Around her, townsfolk gathered like crows, some turning away, others staring with hungry eyes. None stepped forward. Not the preacher, not the wives, not the men who once drank with her husband. Shame wrapped her like chains. She thought in that moment that perhaps she was cursed, that she should lie there and take it, for who else would defend her? Then the air shifted. From the shadows at the end of the street, a figure stepped forward. The slow rhythm of boots against dirt silenced even the cicadas. Jedediah Cole moved with the inevitability of thunder rolling across a valley. He did not shout. He did not hurry. He simply came forward until he stood between Eliza and the men who beat her. Silas spat again, squaring his shoulders. "This ain't your fight, stranger." Jed's gaze was steady, unblinking. He reached down, helping Eliza to her feet with a gentleness that undid her completely. His hand was calloused, steady, anchoring. He positioned himself, so she and the babies were behind him. When Silas lunged, Jed struck once, swift, clean, the kind of blow that comes from a man who has fought only when he must. The younger McGraw fell into the dust, gasping. Another swung. Jed caught his wrist, twisted, and sent him sprawling with efficiency that brooked no argument. The silence afterward was heavier than the beating itself. Dust hung in the air, motes drifting like ash. Jed's voice cut through, low and final. "You're coming with me." He did not look at the crowd. He did not look at the McGraws cursing from the ground. He looked only at her, and in that gaze, Eliza saw something she had not known in months. Not pity, not judgment, but recognition. He was not rescuing her out of gallantry or desire. He was offering her dignity, a chance to stand without shame. Her breath trembled as she nodded. She gathered the twins closer, their cries softening as though even they sensed the change. Jed guided her away, his hand resting light on her back, not steering, only steadying. Behind them the town stood mute, bound in its own cowardice. The sun bled into the horizon as they walked, shadows stretching long across the earth. Eliza felt the bruises blooming along her arms, the sting of dust in her cuts, the ache in her bones. Yet beneath it all, she felt something unexpected, a small ember of hope, glowing faint but undeniable. Time has a way of softening memory, but I remember that night as clear as gunfire in the canyon. Not for the violence, nor the gossip that followed, but for the quiet mercy of a stranger's hand. You see, the West was not only tamed by iron and blood. Sometimes it was tamed by a gesture, a fence mended, a loaf shared, a steady arm lifting you from the dirt. If you've ever felt the weight of the world's judgment press you to your knees, remember this: there is dignity yet waiting in the shadows, ready to carry you into tomorrow, and when it comes, when someone says, steady as thunder, "You're coming with me," you will know it was never pity that saved you, but love, in its quietest, fiercest form.